Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my hacks for getting enough protein in my diet, because sometimes it is a really difficult thing to do and I was not doing a good job at it until recently. And so if you enjoy this type of content, other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. So someone commented on a recent video wondering what some of my tricks or whatever were, tricks or hacks I guess, for getting enough protein in my diet, because it is very hard and I am not a meat lover. I never have been a huge meat lover. And so it's very tricky, I think, when you don't just like love meat to do it. And it can get expensive too. I guess any way you look at it or any way you try to get protein, it can be expensive. And so trying to find a way that I get about 140 to 150 grams of protein most days. And so trying to find a way that I could do that was really hard, because before I started paying attention to my protein intake, I was like probably getting next to nothing, like way under 100 grams of protein a day. It wasn't something I was intentional about, but I've seen it help me build more muscle. I generally feel better, I have more energy. You know, I don't just kind of wear out throughout the day. And you know, so many people, research and people that lift and all these things say that it's really good, especially for older women, as I'm getting closer to 40, to do those types of things, like to have a higher protein intake in your diet. And so I wanted to share with you some of the things I do. They're not revolutionary. It's just a few things that I do that have helped me hit that goal of 140 grams of protein a day. And so I felt like the best way to do this was to kind of go through my day and just give you kind of a breakdown of what I normally do, mostly for breakfast and for snacks. I'll tell you what I do for lunch and dinner, but those ones aren't as like revolutionary, I guess, as maybe some of the other ones. And I don't think any of them are revolutionary really, but they might be revolutionary or helpful for you. So let's get into it. So I am currently counting macros and I'm in a bit of a deficit to try to lose a little bit of baby weight, because I have 6 kids and the baby kid is 18 months old. And so I've been working on it for several months and have seen success in doing that and keeping my protein higher and paying really close attention to what I'm eating. So there's certain things that help more when you're in a deficit and things that might be easier to have if you're not in a deficit. If you just are looking to add protein, these are just some ways to do it, okay? So I guess it depends on what your goals are. So for breakfast, I have liked just making pancakes. I do basically the same breakfast every single day. That's one of my tips, is like do the same things, okay? Make your brain not have to work so hard. And maybe some people get bored. I don't know. We change it up for dinner and stuff like that, and my lunches end up being a little different sometimes. But for breakfast, it's easy just to do the same thing. And occasionally we'll run out of this mix, so then I'll try to figure out another way to try to get a lot of protein in breakfast. And so I will mix this. A serving of this is a half a cup, and it makes about 3 pancakes. And so if I need a little bit more protein for that day, I'll add in some protein powder. So this is Clean Simple Eats, so I'll do like a half a scoop, because I won't need the whole like 20 grams that's in a scoop. And so I'll mix these two together, and then I'll also make 2 eggs. Again, if you're trying to look at your fats or whatever for the day, you might want to do egg whites or just like 1 egg and egg whites, and then it'll help cut out some of that fat or whatever in the protein. So I try to have a very high protein breakfast. I usually am eating breakfast later, like 9 or 9:30. Maybe that's not later for you guys, but I'm up at 6. So when I'm up so early, like it is later, and I don't eat anything. I'll drink water, but I don't eat anything until I have breakfast. And so I've usually like lifted and worked out and I'm pretty hungry. So I try to make sure that it's very high protein. And I have found that the easiest way to get a lot of protein is through this. And so a few tricks too, you can just do syrup. Depending, yeah, I don't know what you like to put on your pancakes. Growing up, we put yogurt on them, which if you do Greek yogurt, that has a lot of protein in it. I have been making jam, or like preserves basically, that are just strawberries and blueberries and maple syrup and some like citrus juice mixed in, and let that cook down on the stove. So I'll use that, and that's, you know, some more carbohydrates. If you have room in your fats, you could do peanut butter. That gives you more protein, but it also is a lot of fat. And so right now I love generally I love peanut butter on my pancakes. Right now I rarely have peanut butter on my pancakes because it's just so much fat and I just don't have room for that. But that's my breakfast. Like I said, it's basically what I eat every single morning. I rarely eat something different. It's simple. I know exactly like how to calculate it, everything. It just makes it so much easier. So for lunch, I usually have leftovers from dinner. And I will talk about dinners in a minute and some of the food meal plans that I like for more macro-friendly type dinners. But I also at times like to have a salad made up in the fridge. Most of the salads that I really like are from Lily Eats and Tells, and she's another one I'll mention for dinners too, but she has a lot of salads that are available outside of her meal plan. They're just available on her website. And so lately I've been making one that's just a tuna fish type salad. It has a bunch of vegetables in it and things like that that I really am enjoying. And so usually a mix of that is about 4 servings. And I'm the only one that's eating it. And so it will last me 4 days or whatever. Or if we have a dinner that's more meat heavy than I like, I have a salad already prepared that I can eat in the fridge. And so I'll do that as well. But I really like it. The key to me for a lot of other proteins, besides the things I'm gonna show you here, is finding proteins that I liked in a form that I liked. And so some of those, I don't mind tuna fish, that's fine. Canned chicken's a tricky one for me. It kind of depends on the brand. I like bottling my own chicken, which I'm actually gonna be doing soon. And so maybe, I'll show you maybe a finished product of that or whatever in some future video if you're interested in seeing that. But I like the texture of my bottled chicken. It's how my grandma bottled chicken, how my mom bottles chicken. And so it's just how I like it. I just have a texture issue with a lot of chicken. And then I like ground turkey way better than I like hamburger types of meats and stuff. The texture of it, again, is really hard for me. And so I will make a lot of things with ground turkey instead of using hamburger. And so I've tried to find some things that I like, and I've tried some new things that I wouldn't have tried before, and it's helped me find a few things. And so I kind of stick to those or look for recipes that I like. If they have hamburger at ground hamburger, is that even what you call it? Ground beef, there you go, in them. And then I can sub that out and just put ground turkey. The texture might be a slightly different thing, but it usually is okay for me to just kind of switch it out. And so that's what I have been doing. So lunches, again, generally are leftovers from dinner, or I'll have a salad that I've made that just makes it easy so that I know exactly what I can eat for lunch and I don't really have to think about it. That's the key here, is to put in a little bit of meal prep so that I don't have to do so much work, especially after a crazy homeschool morning. The last thing I want to have to do when I'm starving is try to figure out what to eat. And if something's already there, then it's really easy for me to just put it in a bowl and just eat it instead of eating something that maybe isn't so macro friendly and will not help me hit the goals that I want to hit. So one of the areas I've had to be extremely intentional about getting protein or paying attention to what I'm eating is snacks. Because it's so easy to get carried away with snacks and have them just kind of ruin your whole day. So I made a list of things. I brought a few things in to show you just so I wouldn't forget anything. So protein bars are great. It's hard to find one you like. At least it was for me. Sometimes like the texture, again, can just be very gritty or very it just has that protein flavor, which isn't my favorite. I don't love protein shakes. I have mentioned so many times in so many videos that I like water. I have a really hard time drinking anything that has flavor to it. I like some smoothies, but I just really don't. I just have a hard time. And a lot of things, even protein drinks with chocolate in it's too sweet. I don't like sugary, sweet tasting things, even if they're not full of sugar, right? I just don't like that taste. And so I don't drink a lot of like my protein. I know some people might like to do that, and that's a good option. It's just not something that I like to do. So some of the protein bars that I do like, I like Built Bar. I like the Puffs, though. You can get some of these, I don't know if you can get the Puffs at Costco, but you can, or Sam's. Do they have them at Sam's Club? I'm not sure. But they sell them there, but you can just order them online as well. But me and my husband like the Puffs better than just the original bars. So this is a brownie batter. My favorite is like the peppermint ones they do at Christmas time. I always buy so many, but we run out of them so quickly because we both like them a lot. But sometimes they have some limited runs of flavors, and some of those are my favorites. But they have tons. They have fruity flavors too, if you prefer that. My husband just is more of a chocolate person, and so I would like to try some of the fruity ones, but if I don't like them, he won't eat them either. So I don't want to waste money on that. So I get these. We like the cookie dough ones as well. There's a coconut brownie one that's really good that we like. And they're lower macros, like the calories are lower, the protein is still high, but fat and carbs are lower on the Puffs. So if you need something that's a little heartier protein bar, I like the barbells, I call them barbells because I don't know, because I lift and that's just what I think of, but I think they're called barbells. Anyways, the caramel, I don't even know how you'd say that, choco, I don't know. It's filled with caramel, and these ones I like the most. I've only tried 2. And so I tried we have the cookies and cream ones. These ones actually have more protein in them than this one. And so the carbs and the fat on both of these are almost, well, the carbs aren't double, but the fat is definitely double of the Built Bars. And so again, depending on your goals and things, but these ones I still like better than these ones. This one does have a little bit more of a protein texture and flavor to it than this. This one just has kind of a caramely filling. And so if you need something a little heartier as a protein bar, those are a good option. And then I have a few other things here that I will show you, and then I'll tell you some of the snacks I also like to have. But if you're having a protein shake or even just a drink mix, if you have like an electrolyte drink mix, these are good. Collagen peptides is a simple way to get a lot of protein into your diet, and these have no flavor. This is just from Costco, and so they're nice to add to kind of whatever because they have no flavor. And so that's a good option. But also Mixers, who I love some of their products. I use them daily, but they also have this collagen here. This is the raspberry limeade. So I don't use this often, but if I'm struggling on a particular day to get a little bit more protein in, I will add this into my plan for the day and then just add it into like a drink mix or something and drink that. It's not my favorite again, but it's not the worst. And I'd rather have that than like a chocolate protein shake. And then a few other options, whether you use this as a snack or as like a mix into a soup or some sort of broth, like for dinner or for a lunch. These are great. So this is from Just Ingredients, and these are their bone broths. So this is a lemon herb one, this is tomato basil. So you could add them into soups. Again, if you like to drink hot drinks and like bone broth, you can just make them like that. I do not like that kind of stuff. I think it's so disgusting, I just can't do it. I don't like hot cocoa, like I just don't. It's yuck. But if you do, you could do it like that as well. But you can add them to so many things. Like it's like add to your soup, favorite soups. You know, you could add it to quinoa or rice or pasta when you're cooking it, you know, just to add that flavor, but then get the extra protein from it. And it has extra fat too, because it's the bone broth. And so those are some options there. One of the things that me and my husband do every day is have ice cream. I never was an ice cream lover until it became a source of protein and a great way for me to have a snack at the end of the day. And so I get Macro Friendly Foods, their Dreamy Mix. And I'm gonna talk about Macro Friendly Foods again in a minute when I talk about dinners. But I really love this. It has 41 grams of protein per serving. My husband and I split a serving. We make this in our Ninja Creamy. And so we split a serving, but so it's 20 grams of protein like at the end of the day. and it has really good macros. You can make protein ice cream with other things too, like with protein drinks and some pudding mix and different things like that. It doesn't have to be her mix. She came out with a mix last year, I think, and we have loved it. The vanilla is my favorite. She also has chocolate, and the chocolate's still good, but I like the vanilla better. And then you can mix things into it, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So that's one of my other favorite ways to get protein. One other thing that I wanted to mention for snacks is either protein muffins or protein bites. Both of these recipes are for macro-friendly foods that I do. I actually think I've shown them in videos past. I can't remember which ones. There was one, I think, that I made some different food items and I showed how to make the muffins. A lot of them she has available on her Instagram. It's always tricky because I subscribe to her meal plan, which isn't very expensive. I think it's like $10 a month. And now she has a lifting program that goes with it too, if you wanted to do lifting with it. But she has some chocolate muffins that I'll make that are protein muffins and very macro friendly. And then there's protein bites, which I don't eat as much of. I make them for my kids and my husband. They really like them. I don't love the flavor of honey. And so some things, you know, in substitution for just straight like white sugar or whatever, they use honey. And just the strong flavor of honey is really hard for me. I've never really liked honey. And so I can use it in some things and it doesn't bother me. And the protein bites aren't so bad, but I'd rather have the muffins. And so I usually have those like every day, like as an afternoon snack. I'll have 1 or 2 muffins depending on my macros for the day. And it helps with that like little bit of chocolate, you know, it gives you a treat, but it's a better treat. You know, it's not gonna be super sweet like your normal muffin cupcake recipes, you know, because a cupcake is a muffin with frosting on it and stuff. And so it's not gonna be so sweet like that, but I just like it, like it's a little bit of a treat, but also it's really, like it's much better for me than grabbing something else. If you like chomps, I haven't actually ever tried them, so I can't say anything against them. I just don't, again, like meat that way is not my favorite way to eat meat, like beef jerky or anything like that. I don't really like eating it that way. And so I know chomps are really good. A lot of people love them, and that could be another good like afternoon snack option if you just need to get some protein in. All right, so dinners. Dinners are the big thing because again, they tend to be my leftovers for the rest of the week. So macro-friendly foods is one I get so many of my dinners from. And then also Lily Eats and Tells, and she recently did a meal plan for dinners, and now she has a meal plan that you could do for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And she sends it out every single week, and so you can look at those. She also has a lot of recipes on her website, on her Instagram, the same with macro-friendly foods. She has a lot on her Instagram as well, if you wanted to look through and try to find them on there. But those are the ones that I go to most just because they're the easiest for me to enter macros because they're already on my like Fitness Pal, so I can just enter them in and I don't have to think about it. Otherwise, I like to try to keep things as whole food as possible, and in a deficit, that's the easiest way to keep my macros where they need to be, and they're easier to enter in to my Fitness Pal if they're just whole, like simple foods. You know, making a whole recipe can get complicated. So macro-friendly foods she has salads and that kind of stuff, but she does a lot of comfort food, but macro-friendly, and they're really good. I really love them. And so I use hers more because my family likes the recipes more. Lily Eats and Tells lives in California, and her recipes kind of reflect that more fresh vibe with lots and lots of flavor. And so hers have tons of vegetables, more intense flavors, and I like that kind of stuff, but not everyone in my family does. So I'll make hers sometimes. There are certain recipes we like from her, but I also really love her salads. And so that's what I'll do a lot of is her salads. So it kind of depends what you're going for or what your family likes and that kind of thing. So I had a few that I took clips of. Actually, I don't know if I have clips of all of these, but I will just talk about them, and if there is clips, I'll put them in. As I was making a few things this last week, I was thinking about it. So one of the ones that I really like from macro-friendly foods is crispy tacos. Again, I can just use ground turkey for this. I like to put it in my Instant Pot to cook the ground turkey because it gives it a better texture than cooking it on the stove. And then you just put it in tacos. She uses corn tortillas. I don't love, again, texture and flavor of corn tortillas. And so I just will buy small like flour tortillas and do it that way. And then you just cook them, and they're great to the next day or the next few days. Me and my husband just put them back in the air fryer because, you know, now they're not crispy, that they've been sitting in the fridge. And we'll just put them in the air fryer for a few minutes, or you could put them back in the oven and get that little bit of crunch back on the outside. And so they're really great to use over again. And then also if you have extra meat, you could just do like some sort of taco salad. You could do nachos and, you know, put in your chips separately and your ground turkey separately. And it's just a great way to get a good amount of protein. So that's one that I like a lot. I also really like her hamburger soup. I think hers calls for ground beef, but I use turkey again. I make it almost every single week. I like waited last year. I think in the middle of summer, I actually made it just because I really wanted soup, and it was such an easy recipe that I knew I liked. But I was waiting for like colder weather because I really wanted to make it. So, so that is another one. It's her cheeseburger soup. I said hamburger, but you know, it's a cheeseburger soup that's really good, which I think I have shown again on another video. And then I like the pulled pork and doing sourdough buns. Sorry, I keep looking at my list to remember all the ones I did want to mention. And so pulled pork, Lily Eats has one, and Macro Friendly has one. Lily Eats is, I think, in the Instant Pot. Macro Friendly, it's in the crock pot. Hers is a little bit higher carbs because she's using ketchup and things like that. And so I guess it depends on kind of where your goals are and stuff like that. But it's nice that I can just stick it in the crock pot. It's uses pork tenderloin, and I actually like it. Like, I tried it and I was like, this is fine. Like, I could eat this. And then I'll usually just make sourdough like buns or whatever to go with it. And those are like, the macros on those are just fairly normal compared to other carbs as well, like another carb you would be getting for dinner. So that's something I like to make. It's simple, it's fairly easy to just throw in and to use. And then the last thing I did want to mention that's handy to have on hand for dinners or for lunches is the Bear chicken nuggets from Sam's Club or Costco. You can get them at Walmart, but they're much cheaper at Sam's Club or Costco in a way bigger bag. And so I like having these on hand for dinners because, so my husband goes in to teach on campus on Tuesdays and Thursdays and gets home a little later. And so I try to plan simpler meals those days, or crock pot meals, so that dinner is not crazy when he's not around to help with my little kids. And so I'll just throw Bear chicken in the air fryer. I wanted to say Instant Pot, and I'm like, that is not it. And then I'll set out stuff. You can make a salad. You could just have it as like a chicken nugget with some fruit or vegetables on the side. And just like, so simple, takes like 15, 20 minutes. And most of that I'm not doing anything. The air fryer is doing all the work. So it's also nice for lunch if I happen to not have something, or we just ran out of things, or nothing sounds that great. I can just quickly throw a serving, which is fairly small. Actually, like, it's fairly small, probably smaller than you would think, in there. And then I'll just put it in like with a bunch of lettuce, you know, have a big salad with it. And so it's just nice to have on hand when the options are limited, when we're getting it to the end of our groceries or whatever. I can just pull out the chicken. Or if I've had a day too where I knew that my carbs were higher, because those are more protein, you know, there's a little bit of carbs and fat, but mostly protein. And so it's a little easier for me to control what we're having. And so I will pick that instead of doing a different meal. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of a little bit long, and I am not an expert at any of these things. These are just stuff that I've learned over the last couple years as I've been trying to be more aware of what I'm eating and trying to take better care of my body, especially after having 2 babies like right in a row very quickly. And so I'm trying really hard to make sure everything is going well and that I'm taking care of myself. And so comment down below, let me know how you're doing, how like ways you like to get protein, maybe some other meal plans you might like, any suggestions for me or for other people looking to get more protein into their diet, or just whatever. We'd love to hear your comments. Remember to be nice. And if you enjoyed this type of content, remember to give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.